JudgeMagistR there was.
Hello everyone, this is JudgeMagistR, and today I'm opening a series called Pray for the Gods Speedrunning 101. So in this series I'm going to be teaching you the ways of speedrunning in this game, as well giving you some in-depth explanation of how the system may work. Be advised though that I could be wrong in certain things. I'm still discovering things in this game. However, I've been playing this game since the early access days, as well as speedrunning this game since the early access days, so I may have some experience in this game to extend enough to make a guide for it. And the way I'm gonna be doing this is by splitting each episode based on the bosses or the gods, however you may refer them. And for today's episode I'm gonna be focusing on Satyr, the tutorial boss. I'll be also showing you the differences between fighting them on echo mode and fighting them in the story progression of the game, which we would refer as the any % category of the game. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Before we deep dive and discuss the best optimized ways to defeat this boss, we first need to know the intentional ways of it. And surprisingly, this boss has about 3 methods which you can climb on it. The first one is the Shadow Colossus Classic, which is basically just grab the fur on the right leg and make your way to the top. And the second method is grappling yourself to one of the hook spots, which can be found on the back of his hip area. If you are within the range, it's gonna glow red, and if you are away from it, it's not gonna glow at all. So keep an eye on this detail so you won't waste your time trying to grapple yourself on a place that you may not be able to. The third one, which gives you some insight in the lore of the game, it's basically ringing a bell on this sort of plateau area. And once you ring the bell, you're gonna give him the worst headache of his life, and that will give you a few seconds to climb on top of him, since he's gonna be down on his knees for a few seconds. And now you're probably asking yourself, if there's so many ways to climb on this boss, what is the best one for speedrunning? My answer is the third one is the best one. The reason for this is that once he falls down, he's gonna be stunned in a few seconds. The stun will make him stay there for a few seconds, and that's gonna allow you to ring the bells as long within the time frame that he's on his knees. And now I can finally introduce the most complex technique in this game, which is being able to one cycle a bell sigil before getting shaken off. In this game, sometimes some of the gods, you may be able to ring the bell 3 times before he shakes you off. And the reason for this is that he may be stuck in another animation, allowing you ringing the bells enough times and then going to the next one. And the reason why I say that the one cycle technique is the most complex of the bunch is because there's some things to consider, there's some preparation behind it, and not only that, there's also some knowledge behind it as well before even attempting a one cycle technique. And now I'm gonna try to show you this knowledge, and hopefully you may understand how it works. Alright, so to first understand the one cycle technique, we need to know the shaking variations that Satyr has. And Satyr has a total of 3 shaking variations. And depending where you're standing on his body, he's gonna shake you off in a specific way. The first one is the leg area. He's gonna basically shake his leg once you're climbing around his leg area. The second one is the one that you're gonna see the most, is the torso shaking. The torso shaking is the largest one of the bunch. Triggers around the torso area, of course, but not only that, also the arms, and also once you ring the bell sigil on his back and shoulders. Last but not least are the head shakes. The head shakes can be triggered once you ring the bell sigil on his head. It can also be triggered if you're standing around his neck area or just standing on the top of his head. The interesting part about the head shakes is that it also affects the shoulder area, which it could actually interrupt your progress on trying to ring the bell sigil on his shoulder. Now that you understand the shaking animations, let's proceed to another piece of knowledge you may require to execute the one cycle technique. And that is, using the very same shaking animations to your advantage in order to ring the bells more than once. So the way you're gonna be using this to your advantage is that each shaking animation does have a specific area of effect. And I highlighted each area of effect on the screen right there, as you can see. And let's say if you're aware of this specific area of effect, you're gonna be able to one cycle or just be able to ring a bell more than once without getting interrupted. Be advised though that this is not a universal technique, as it may vary for all of the bosses, considering each one has a specific area of effect and they have different sizes, and they also have ways of counter-attacking your attempt on trying to one cycle them. But now you must be thinking, how am I gonna be able to leave this shaking area to go to the next if I'm being affected by the shaking in the first place? And that comes the reason why I said the third method is the best one for speedrunning. Simply because he's gonna be, like on his knees, and once you ring the bell of such said specific area, you could go to the next. And if you're fast enough, you could also be able to one cycle. Unlucky for us, Satyr is pretty vulnerable once he's stunned, and not only that, he also has delayed reactions which we could use for advantage, and I'm gonna show you exactly how it's done. As mentioned before, we're gonna be reaching the plateau area because this is the best method which you're gonna be using for the speedrun pace of this fight. That's when we ring the bell to give the massive headache. Here we go. That's when comes our advantage. So right here is gonna be stunned. You're gonna be able to ring the bell twice before he stands up. 2 strikes is enough because we already striked once on the head sigil. After he stands up, however, you're gonna be able to run to the second sigil. That's when it's gonna have a delayed reaction of the head shake. As you can notice, the head shake did not affect me, as I said it would affect if I was standing on the shoulders. The reason for that is that the pull-out animation on the bell sigil allows me to actually be able to resist the shaking, therefore giving me a chance to one cycle. Now as for the any percent speedrun route for this boss, there's not much variation that can be done. The only challenge it provides is the lack of a glider to use on this fight if you still want to make the best method for speedrunning, which is the third method. You may have to wait a little longer for him to approach closer to the plateau, and then you can make your jump. You could also use the second method, which is grappling on the hook spot on the back of his hip. Alright, so I believe that's a wrap for Satyr. There's not much that can be said. I believe that's all the information you need to be able to get a much decent time on this boss, and I believe it should not be more than 2 minutes. I hope you guys have a great day, and I see you on the next Speedrun 101.